It is devastating to watch this unfold in my city.
Now at 6, federal agents arrest an asylum seeker off Portland's streets. And according to his lawyer, the justification doesn't add up.
I showed them the phone, and then their story changed.
Plus, an apparent home invasion.
And I was like, oh my God, that was gunfire.
Ends with a shooting and the suspect in the hospital. Then,
a penny per milligram can help stop fires.
Fighting fire with nicotine? How tobacco alternatives could help in Oregon's wildfire battle.
And what's old is new, with a potential big hint of the name the Rose City's reborn WNBA team will sport on the court. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. Our top story here at 6, Portland police have arrested a man they say left an explosive near I-5.
Catherine Cook is live in Northeast Portland. Catherine, you spoke with neighbors who watched the search for the suspect.
Guys, they had no idea what was going on, especially with so many agencies responding to the scene, including the bomb squad. As you can imagine, it was pretty disconcerting. Officers focused their attention on this house behind us, which we're told has multiple units. A neighbor shared this cell phone video with us. This happened around 1 o'clock this afternoon. Portland's CERT team, the bomb squad, and canine units all responded. They loud hailed the suspect to come out and eventually took him into custody without any problems. This all goes back to Saturday evening and an incident on I-5, which police had to close. Police said the suspect was throwing objects onto cars from the Feeling Street pedestrian bridge. They say when drivers stopped, the suspect would slash their tires, threaten them with a screwdriver, and claimed he had a bomb, which he left along I-5. The bomb squad later disabled the item, which they called a, quote, viable improvised device. Neighbors say the whole thing is a lot to take in.
I'm pretty relieved, pretty shook that it was happening in my own neighborhood. When I say it's right outside my house, it was right outside my house. They marked off some police tape right there. We had a bunch of neighbors whose cars were parked there. They're like, we can't get to our car. What is going on?
Back live in Northeast Portland, police have not identified the suspect, which they took into custody today, and they say there's no longer any concern or danger to the community. Back to you.
Yeah, just glad it ended peacefully, all things considered. Thank you, Catherine.
Meantime, in Columbia County, people are being allowed to return to their homes after a brush fire forced evacuations this afternoon. It sparked just outside St. Helens city limits near Railroad Avenue and 1st Street. The fire threatened a few homes and businesses.
There was a lot of smoke. It was like a big cloud of smoke over these trees, and you could tell that it was pretty close. And it was just like, my grandkids live in the neighborhood, and we need to get out of here.
Yeah, you never know, right? Those evacuation orders have now been lifted. Investigators aren't sure exactly how this fire sparked, though they say they know it was human-caused. Now to an update on video that appears to show ICE agents arresting an asylum seeker on the streets of downtown Portland, just blocks from the federal building. This was breaking news last night at 11.
Celine Stevens is live downtown. Celine, you spoke with a couple who saw it all go down.
Christine, I did, and those witnesses were pulling into work when they saw those ICE agents getting ready to detain that man that they had pulled over right here along 2nd Avenue and Main Street. Now, what we do know is that man was leaving his immigration court hearing with his mother, and despite his legal representative being there with him, it still wasn't enough to stop him from being detained.
It is devastating to watch this unfold in my city.
This video, taken by Tristan Edwards Wednesday morning, shows a man being taken away from his car in downtown Portland and moved into a black SUV by Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents. Edwards and her husband, Grant Hartley, who are both attorneys, were arriving to work when they came across this scene.
I walked around and I saw that his badge said ICE on it, and so I immediately got my phone out and started recording the interaction.
According to court documents, the man detained, identified as EATB, is from Colombia and is seeking asylum. His attorney, Yesenia Martinez, who was the woman seen in the video, says he had just appeared in immigration court with his mother when soon after leaving, he was pulled over.
Then I got a call from his mother because they were being followed by a vehicle with people that they could see had their faces covered with masks.
While it wasn't a total shock to Martinez, it still caught her off guard.
I didn't think he would necessarily be detained in the manner that he was detained, and I thought that after the case was going to continue, that he wasn't necessarily at risk for being detained because he had been following all his requirements.
Hartley and Edwards watching it all unfold from the sidewalk.
I think it's a very helpless feeling when you're an advocate for somebody and your job is to defend their rights and you see those rights being violated, but there's very little you can do because these are federal officers.
You can imagine that for anybody who is an immigrant right now, I am sure it is a terrifying time to even be alive.
Martinez says an agent claimed her client had missed a check-in.
I said, no, he hasn't, because those are things that I monitor with my clients to make sure that they're complying with all of their requirements to not be detained. I showed them the phone, and then their story changed. Well, he's an enforcement priority.
This marking the 5th known detainment of an asylum seeker in Portland following an immigration hearing.
It makes me angry to see our neighbors, our community members, people who are contributing positively to our community being taken for no other reason than they are living here with, a non-citizen status.
I reached out to ICE to find out more about the specifics of EATB's case, but I have not yet heard back. Martinez says that she was not allowed to see her client at the Portland ICE facility on Wednesday and that now he's being held at a detention center in Tacoma. Back to you.
Celine Stevens downtown. Thanks, Celine. Appreciate your work on this.
In tonight's other headlines, one person is dead and another is hurt after an apartment fire in Hazeldale. It broke out just after midnight at the Ridgecrest apartment complex. Neighbors say they heard fire alarms go off, then an explosion. The second floor of the complex collapsed. The fire displaced at least 10 families. The Red Cross is helping them. No word yet on what started that fire.
Multnomah County has reached a potential $2.5 million settlement with the family of an inmate who died in 2023. 36-year-old Clemente Pineda died during a fentanyl detox. He'd been showing symptoms of severe illness, though it took staff several hours to respond to try to save him. This was the 6th in-custody death in a 3-month time span at the jail. The settlement still needs to be finalized and approved by the County Board of Commissioners. Let's hop over to Central Oregon now, where all level 3 go now evacuation orders have been dropped for the Alder Springs fire. That is great news there. Containment northwest of Redmond now up to 21%. The blaze has burned some 3,200 acres, and officials believe it is human caused.
Oregon state lawmakers are looking for more ways to fund wildfire fighting, and now a new amendment targets a nicotine product. The idea? To tax nicotine pouches like Zyn or Rogue. The move would add a 65 cent per tax on tins of 20 pouches or less. Sponsors estimate it'll raise about $30 million. The amendment also pulls interest revenue from the state's rainy day fund to double the impact, with that pot of money earmarked for wildfire mitigation and prevention.
It's something we can do right now, again, for a rapidly growing market that is not currently taxed, that we can find the revenue that, that we need to keep our community safe.
So this is just one possible addition to a huge wildfire funding plan that the governor and legislators are trying to work out before the session ends 10 days from now. Matt?
All right, Christine, thank you very much. We are still on track for our scheduled change in the weather. So tomorrow and Saturday are weather impact alert days for heavy rain. And tomorrow we've got a pretty good chance of thunderstorms anywhere in western Oregon, too. You're going to think about slowing down if you do get caught in a downpour, and staying dry, whatever your plans are for the weekend, Friday and Saturday. Then there's this, super interesting for June and the change of seasons. Snow down to 4,500 feet tomorrow, 2 to 4 inches by the end of the day Friday, another 3 to 5 inches on Saturday, and maybe an inch piling up early on Sunday before the snow level shoots back up and we warm up. This is going to be a very heavy, very wet snowfall, so if you plan on camping, climbing, or hiking, you might want to think twice about that, especially on Saturday as we get that cold air coming on in. So yeah, it is a big, big change from where we've been. Scattered showers and thunderstorms. Things will improve dramatically, though, on Sunday. Guys?
Snow on the summer solstice. We definitely need the rain, though. Thanks, Matt.
Developing this evening, police have arrested and charged a man accused in a home invasion in North Portland. Investigators say the suspect kicked in the front door and the homeowner shot him.
Let's bring in Alma McCarty live on North Baldwin Street. So Alma, what did the homeowner tell you?
Yeah, David, we talked about a lot of things. Of course, he was not interested in going on camera. Of course, he was terrified by this whole situation, but he did give us a look at some of the damage. But first, I wanted to just tell you that the suspect has been booked into the Multnomah County Jail after being discharged from the hospital. He is facing a first-degree burglary charge, and Portland police have identified him as 35-year-old Austin Mason Jones. And again, this homeowner, he did walk me through some of the damage. Take a look at what we shot earlier today. Basically, he tells me he awoke to someone pounding on his front door, and when he looked outside, he did not recognize the person who was out on his porch. He asked him to leave, but said the man refused, and then he continued to kick down the door. The homeowner called 911, told dispatch what was happening, and as officers made their way over, he told the stranger he had a gun. And when the intruder forced his way inside, he fired it 4 times. One of the bullets struck the man in the arm. Another, officers say, hit a neighbor's window across the street. Portland police tell us there's no clear criminal intent and the homeowner has not been criminally charged, but they will work with the DA's office to make a final determination.
Speaking generally, what we ask people to do is similar to what we see here, where if someone is trying to break into your home, certainly people have a right to defend themselves and defend their homes. And we do see that happen sometimes. And we do ask them to call police to try to get us there to try to handle it. And that's exactly what he did in this circumstance.
And the homeowner is cooperating with police, telling me earlier today that this was one of the, if not the most traumatizing nights of his life. And again, the suspect, that 35-year-old, he is behind bars facing a first-degree burglary charge. David, Christine, back to you.
Yeah, terrifying situation all around. Glad everyone is okay. Thank you so much, Alma.
Today is Junth, the federal holiday that commemorates the emancipation of enslaved African Americans.
Our Daisy Caballero stopped by a few events to see how Portlanders were celebrating.
We are currently at the 3rd annual Miso Maker Market Juneteenth event, where people here say that they're ready for the week-long celebration.
June 19th is a day to commemorate freedom, resilience, and Black excellence.
Believe it or not, on this table, we probably have close to 10 different vendors.
Some people are doing just that at the Miso Maker Market by showcasing their handmade creations with their culture top of mind.
So the celebration, the impact that is created, the freedom that is created to be able to have a small business even.
It is actually a community gathering where everyone can celebrate the freedom of Black people.
Ambrosia Johnson is a vendor at the event, providing paint opportunities for children and community members. She says it's heartwarming to see Portland show out for the holiday.
It feels like people actually care and at the same time that they don't mind learning.
Also in Northeast Portland, another Juneteenth celebration at the Miracles Club, where they had food, music, and more vendors who say,
you know, that's a way that I express my Blackness as far as my jewelry.
Eloisa Dance has been crafting jewelry for 50 years and is glad to see more Juneteenth celebrations in the Rose City.
As we celebrate year by year, more people become involved and more people have the knowledge about Juneteenth.
Reporting in Northeast Portland, Daisy Caballero, KGW News.